Hello and welcome to Hot Topic Tuesday on the SOS Show. SOS stands for help. It also stands for share our stories. I'm your host, Mary Evans, with a strong belief that there is power in sharing stories. I believe that when you share your stories, we motivate, inspire you to live your best life. And what's important, leave a legacy and build generational wealth. Today we have a hot topic. And that topic is called By the Block. And I would like to introduce to you Miss Linda P. Smith. Welcome to the show, Lynn. How are you today?
I'm good, Mary. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm always excited for this show. I love this show. I've always been interested in real estate. I've always visioned owning the blocks. I always think about Black Wall Street. I believe that the only way we're going to stop gentrification and to change our wealth gap is definitely to know about real estate. So whenever you're on the show, I'm so excited because I learn something every show with you.
Yes, thank you. Well, great.
Yeah.
And of course, with one of the things that's very helpful with this environment or this platform is the fact that we can do it together. We don't have to do it by ourselves. So always remember that, one of the very good things about this platform is that we can definitely build the wealth and build our wealth together as
Yeah.
a group, as a community.
And that's what it's about. Before we start the show, for any new viewers, I would like for us to play this short video.
So, you finally decided you want to enter the property group investing world, but you aren't sure what to do? Are you ready to get the money needed to make a big difference in your community? Well, in that case, you're lucky. Simply put, regular people that want to become real estate investors use a dedicated platform like By the Block, and they can help you buy the block in your local area if they so desire. By the Block is here to help. What do you have to do? 1. Be a little proactive. 2. Find a property. 3. Make an offer. 4. Bring the property to Buy the Block. 5. Get funded. 6. Buy the block. 7. Stop gentrification. 8. Repeat. Make an effort and we'll guide you through every step. Buy the Block will get you approved for your block offering and get you started on becoming a block developer today. To submit an offer to Buy the Block, you need to create an account and fill in the easy details. Once completed, one of our in-house block development success personnel will contact you. Once approved, watch investment dollars start rolling in. Buy the Block platform is the place where thousands of blockvestors are waiting to help you stop gentrification. Blockvestors have the benefit of low minimums. Some investors can offer up to $2,200. Others can opt for way less or more depending on their budget. Buy the Block real estate investment doesn't come with a significant entry level. In fact, it has great approachability. So what are you waiting for? Visit us at buytheblock.com right now and submit your block offer or become a blockvestor today. Become a part of the Buy the Block movement. Join us now. Buy the Block is your way to get into a thriving industry and help your community.
A fun video. It's such a fun video.
I love that video. It breaks it down and makes it very simple for you when you talk about Buy the Block. This really can happen for us. And when you can come together with people that look like you and I, and it could be a community project, that's so exciting. So, Lynn, I have my pen and paper, and I'm letting you do a takeover on the show because I'm listening and learning, and so is the audience. So we'll let you take over from here.
Thank you. Thank you. So one of the things that I want to recap on when we talk about recapping is the process for a developer to bring a project to Buy the Block. So we want to make sure that that's, that we kind of repeat the process so developers can understand that it's an easy process, but at the same time it does require a little work from you, from any developer, right? First they have to, create their company, they have to have an EIN, they have to have a property that they've identified that they would like to, get the funding for. And then the final piece is they have to have an agreement or a contract between them and the seller, or the seller and the broker of the property. From with those components, they bring that to Buy the Block, and we will help them. We'll guide them through all the other documentation that we need in order to get the project live on Buy the Block and get it, and start to have it, backers or community members start to, to help support the project. But that is the main component that we want to really, drill into a lot of developers. If you are a developer in your area, in an urban community, or in an area that you're noticing that is getting gentrified in a predominantly Black community, whatever area you are, you can find a property in that area that you can identify and say, you know what, I can actually purchase this with my community, and my community can share ownership in this property, not just me. And they'll help me. Not only will they share ownership in this property, but as the property gains, equity and so on and so forth, they'll also, benefit from that as well. So very key components that and I want to make sure that a lot of developers understand is that what we need from you is your business registration with the state, EIN, your contract that shows that you have an agreement to purchase the property with the seller, and those are the key components that we need in order to move you forward in the process. Traditional lending requires you to have 20% down,
Yes.
the contract. It needs you to have, it needs you to go through, a certain, you need to have a certain net worth, a certain income.
Yes.
All those barriers to entry are removed with Buy the Block. All of those barriers.
I have a question. When you talk about those things, another thing that's a little different is that the credit score is not as strict with like traditional lending. Is that correct?
Correct. So we don't even ask you for your credit score. So your credit score is not even, it's not of a concern to us. What we really need is that you understand that you are raising money from the community. So you do have to make a pitch, basically, and understand what that means to make a pitch to the community for them to back your project. But prior to making the pitch, and we can help you with that, give you a little guidance on that. But for the most part, we really just need your business registration, your EIN, the letter of intent, and then the other documents we will walk you through creating. And that property, we need that property address, the physical address of what property you're buying. And it could be a lot, it can be a plaza, it can be a duplex or a triplex. The only thing that we don't do on Buy the Block is we do not fund your primary dwelling on Buy the Block. So as a developer, won't fund your primary dwelling, but it has to be an investment property. So, but for that being, but that's really the main. That's really the main restriction. But other than that, all those other barriers to entry have been removed, and we want developers to see this as a resource, to be able to raise funding and be able to buy their block and be able to, to help to really, gain a foothold in our real estate ownership in these communities.
Which we really need. So I was talking with you earlier, the deal that I possibly can have at the table. This land is in Detroit. The land could possibly put 70 single homes built on the land. Getting it for a very good deal. They're asking $300,000. And I say, Detroit, you sort of have to, wherever that deal that you're interested, that you can make happen, because I want to own blocks and I want to own a lot of the property. So we're going to put that deal together, Lynn and I, and we're going to be very transparent and maybe talk about it on the show as the deal go out, because that is a deal that I think could be awesome. Now, although the property is in Detroit, I was raised in Pontiac. anybody can come in. When you say community, it could be community in surrounding areas, or do my people that invest have to be in Michigan? Because somebody be looking at this show and be like, look, I want to invest in those 70 home dwellings. Can they be in another state and invest, or because I'm trying to work this deal in Michigan, they all have to be in Michigan?
So they can be anywhere within the United States and they can invest. So when we use the term community, we use that as the people that are actually part of the project, part of the platform, part of the program. That's our community. They are an online community, and they can be, just like you're in Pontiac, and and I'm from Denver, Colorado, and we've been able to communicate. This is how we're using the online world to create this community that buys the blocks together, or buy blocks together. So that's the community that we're speaking of. So no, they don't have to be in Detroit or Pontiac. They can be anywhere in the United States, and they can be a part of the project.
Okay. So Lynn, once we do that, trying to raise the money, so I'm trying to raise $300,000, that would be the goal. When you come to and collaborate with Buy the Block, what is that time frame that we will have to try to reach that goal, or is there any, you know what I'm saying, to get that 300,000?
So we ask that the developers at least have a minimum of 90 days, and mainly because it takes people a little time to warm up to what you're doing and getting the word out, and getting traction on a project. So we ask developers to at least give us 90 days. So at least have a contract that is good for 90 days prior to even starting the raise. And then the other thing that we ask, it typically doesn't take 45 days, but it can take up to 45 days to have the offer live. We have minimum, can have it up in about 15 days. But we do need a lead time to be able to work through all the other compliances to get the offer live on Buy the Block. But we do ask every developer to at least have a 90-day contract to give the time for a project to gain traction, because it does take, like I said, it takes time for people to warm up to a new idea, a new concept. People are going to have questions. They're going to want to know, okay, well, who are you? What are you doing? Why are you doing it? And so why should I, why me? Why should I back you? When there's, when there's a bunch of stuff going on in my city, and, why not me? So all of that, but these can be answered. These are all, it's all of these. You want to make sure that you're answering, and you're answering them transparently and truthfully for a potential backer, because they just want to be familiar with you. That's all. They just want to be familiar with what you're doing to be able to put money behind it. And
absolutely.
So,
and it's a trust issue for us. When I say us, and I'm just going to say people, Black people, we have been bamboozled so long, and there's so many scams out there. That's why I try so hard on the SOS show to bring legitimate people to the show, because there's so many times I have been approached with opportunities because I didn't know who I was dealing with. I was afraid to trust them. And a lot of time we lose out on building that wealth because we have been scammed so many times. But my goal here is to bring legitimate companies to the show where we can feel comfortable. Lynn, we've heard that phrase so long, Buy the Block. And for some of us, never imagine how can we really make that happen. And what we're trying to do today is to inspire and educate you guys that we now have a program that can help you. You can start something with your family, talk to your family, get a relationship with a real estate agent, and look for that property. But the first thing you want to do is build a profile on Buy the Block. That's one thing first. And the other thing is, Lynn, you have a lot of, you sort of like a one-stop shop. You can help with the pitch. You don't do the work, but you help assist with in which areas. Once we build that profile, can we talk about, so our audience will know that once you build that profile, you guys do more than just help raise money. You help them in other areas as well.
Absolutely. So one of the things that, this is very new to a lot of developers. Traditionally, as a developer, you apply for a loan, and you you kind of roll the dice on that. You get a
Yes.
yes or a no, you know, and if you get a yes, you're yay, I'm happy. And if you get a no, you kind of walk away and be like, all right, well, let me go back to the drawing board. Let me get my finances in order so I can go back. So one of the things that makes By the Block a little different is we actually help you through the process of getting all the necessary documentation, all the necessary paperwork in place. Like Mary said, we don't do it for you, but we provide you guidance and say, okay, here, look, we went over, we read, all 22 pages of your business plan, and here are some areas where there are things that we've identified that you may need to tweak a little bit. We read your pitch. Here's some areas that you need to identify to be able to and tweak a little bit. But we of course we don't do it for you, but we'll let you know, here are the things that we need in order for you to present it to the block investors that are on the website and the community, presented in a way that they're comfortable with and they'll understand. So we walk a lot of developers through that process, and we've been able to make it very easy for them. And we're hoping to do that for anyone else who comes into this space and want to use this, because this is considered alternative financing, and for a lot of us, alternative financing is just not on, like I said, it's just, I'm either going to go to the bank or I'm going hard money, and that's really, or I got a rich uncle, and so those are the other options that are available out there. They're not part of our not part of our communication. They're not part of our conversation. So By the Block is just allowing this, or providing a space so we can actually enter this alternative financing to enter as an option and as a conversation in predominantly or Black communities or Black developers. One of the things that just happened recently, and I think I mentioned it the last time, is that for By the Block, the SEC just raised the minimum of the maximum of what someone can raise on By the Block now. It's going from 1,070,000 to 5 million. So this makes it a lot easier, for a developer. If you're looking at an apartment complex, a lot of times apartment complexes are starting in the 2 million. So the 1 million is shy of what you actually need to be able to buy an apartment complex. So this sets a whole different precedent, having this, this maximum being raised from 1 million to 5 million, because now in one round, you can literally buy the block. Okay. You can buy an apartment complex. You can buy, you can buy, or you can even, in some cases, you can even buy 2 blocks, so depending on the city. So these are all opportunities that we want to make sure that our community is aware of. These alternatives are out there, and we use them, we use them to our advantage to be able to not only develop our community, not only add more real estate owners to our community, but also add more, more ownership, people that have stake in the community. You know what it's like to actually walk by a building in that in your neighborhood and be able to say, you know what, I invested in that. That's, I could walk by it and say, and I have ownership in this, and I live here. And so I help to be able to redevelop my community and build up my community. So that's another aspect that we haven't even touched on, what that feels like and looks like for members in our community on the ground level. So there's so many things that we can do with this, just from a very narrow perspective, is, not only develop the community, not only have real estate that, developers that actually do not have to go to traditional lending to be able to get the financing. They can actually come to their community. These community members, these backers, can live in the community and can walk by and say, hey, look, this is the building that I put money in, that I invested in, that I supported. And, I am owner of a block in my community. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, we couldn't say that, so being able to do that today is, and I'm happy that I'm able to usher and help this, be a resource for our community, because we couldn't do this 10 years ago. 10 years ago, if you wanted to invest in a block on your building, you needed to be an accredited investor, meaning you need to at least have $1 million net worth. And so that left a lot of us out of the loop. And so from a blockbuster's perspective, you can own part of a building for $100. As little as $100, you can own part of a building. So I didn't want to go too long, but there's a sense of pride in that.
When I think about it, when you are owning, like you said, you could walk past this building and say, "Boy, I have ownership in the building." I look at it as when you have a community that's have more ownership in the community, I can see them caring more, walk past, it might be paper outside and they're like, look, let me get this paper up. I
Right.
can see it, yes, rising the hope up in the community when they can say, okay, even if I wasn't able to get on the first dip of a project, maybe I can get on a second, get them motivated, or my cousin or my mother, they was able to invest in that. You know what I'm saying? I think it just build the morale of the community and the people living in the community to want to care more about the community, because some of the communities there's already gentrification and we already locked out because, we know what they do. They go in, they drive the houses become abandoned homes. The property level goes down and they go in and buy up the whole block, rebuild the block, put the new construction up, then they make the rent so high that blacks can't afford to live there. That's what they do now, and that's what they've been doing for years. If we come together in programs like Buy the Block, we're able to go in and buy those abandoned homes, 8, 9, 10, 11 homes on one block and do a community project like Buy the Block, and we all be part ownership. And I'm very interested in that. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. Like I say, there's one the one property that came across me as a deal in Detroit, but I wish that I can, and I will continue to look to find somewhere closer to home where people in my hometown, Pontiac, Michigan, salute to Pontiac, that we can come together and buy up blocks and be ownership together, and we live here and build our own city up. I'm just so thankful that I met you. The social media platform is powerful. And because of meeting you, I know that it's no longer a dream for me and a lot of people when they always talk about Buy the Block. All you guys have to do is come in, listen, and pay attention, because as we work the deals, we're going to bring the deals to the SOS show. We're going to be transparent. And as Lynn helped me go through the deals and we go live trying to raise the money, we're going to be doing that right here on the SOS show, live with Mary Evans. So Lynn, I'm going to answer a couple questions, comments. I'm sorry. This is really great, Miss Mary. I appreciate you and Lynn bringing the topic back again. It's appreciated and very much necessary. Thank you so much. Marsha Easley, love this. Tammy, hello, Mary. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. Yes, from Tammy Moore. Yes, exactly, Miss Lynn. Bill, this is a way out for our community if we take advantage of the resources. Yes, it is. We can get this done as a community. We can get this done. We don't have to keep talking. You hear so many people talk about that. We always talking, Black folks, but it's never action. It's time for action, Lynn. Just period. I get so excited about doing this show.
I would even say that it's not even that we don't take action. I think we just need to know that the information is out there. Yes. This show is helping to do that, because there's a lot of people that just don't know that Buy the Block exists. Buy the Block has been here almost 3 years. And there's just a lot of people that don't know that this is an alternative. I still have to do the legwork to go out and talk to developers. Hey, what do you know about alternative financing? And they're just like, what? I don't know about alternative financing. Okay, so tell me a little bit.
Yes, guys, share the show. You're absolutely right, Lynn. Sometimes we don't know, and I can do shows, Lynn, that's just the craziest show, not serious, and it might get 6,000, 7,000 views. One of the things we don't know a lot of times when we have shows like this, and I continue to do it because I have had people want to drop some ratchet things on the show, talking about it'll get your numbers up. If I have to get my numbers up with things that can't educate or inspire us or sometimes give us a little fun in our life, I'm not doing all that crazy reality talk stuff to grow the page, because I'm looking for individuals that's ready to level up in their life and change the community and change that gap between wealth and poor. poor, as we know, is a big gap between the blacks, whites, and other races. It's time for us to want to learn something that can leave a legacy and build generational wealth. So you and I will continue to bring this show and talk. We're going to be coming every 2 weeks with some information, guys. Please come in, share the post, share the show, because we're trying to not just keep it to ourselves. Lynn is trying to teach us and anybody that'll listen and letting you know you can buy the block. You can buy the block. You understand what I'm saying? If it used to be we didn't know, and when you try to give it to them, most of us don't want to hear it because we're not growing the show on a reality talk show craziness. We're trying to educate, inspire, leave a legacy, build generational wealth. It's time for us to be the head and not the tail. So you guys, I just want you to know we love you. We'll be here every 2 weeks. Please share the show when you see us drop it, because we could change our people's lives all over the world. Thanks for tuning in to the SOS Show live with Mary Evans. And thank you, Lynn, for being here, and stay safe.
Thank you for